Ash Reborn, a time-traveling master's journey. Please like, share and subscribe. Episode 1. Rebirth. Ash, receive Pikachu. Kanto Region, Pallet Town. Wow, Nidorino did a horn attack. But Gengar dodged it beautifully. The TV flashed the classic battle scene of Gengar versus Nidorino and the passionate commentary. Picking up the mirror and looking at the other self, Xuan was very surprised. He actually traveled through time and became the protagonist of Pokémon, Ash. Quickly sorting out his thoughts, Ash was the night before starting his Pokémon journey. Tomorrow morning, he would go to Professor Oak's laboratory in the town to pick up the Earl Dervish Pokémon. It's actually the Pokémon world. This is good. There's nothing to miss about the original world for me. Xuan said to himself. In that world, he was alone and poor. Now fate has given him a chance to live again. He must seize it. From now on, abandoning Xuan, the name that has been with him for more than 20 years, Ash is his new beginning. The two memories merged, the strange feeling in the body disappeared, and a brand new Ash was born. Living again, I must make up for all regrets and let the name Ash resound throughout the world of Pokémon. Ash clenched his fist and said to himself. In his memory, as a time traveler, he also had a standard system. This made him confident about the upcoming journey. Since he was Ash, the titles of Master of Release, King of Reverse Attribute, and Straight Male Single Dog had to be removed. With a thought, Ash called out the system interface. Host, Ash. Special ability, none. Charm, 45 out of 100. Pokémon, none. Points, 0. To earn points, you need to complete the tasks issued by the system, and you can redeem goods in the system store. Every month, the system store will randomly refresh 5 items for purchase. Ash can choose to permanently pin one item to avoid being refreshed, and the rest will be refreshed on time if he does not buy it. Thinking of the system store, Ash subconsciously looked at today's store content. Product 1, Universal Mage Evolution Stone Set, available for all Pokémon with Mage Evolution forms, value, 999 W points. Product 2, Perfect Partner Ring, after wearing it, your partner will have a sisterly relationship and will not be jealous, value, 50 W points. Product 3, Greninja Bond Evolution Quick Method, let the host and Greninja instantly synchronize their emotional fluctuations, teach you to perform perfect bond evolution with Greninja in 1 second, value, 88 W points. Product 4, 10 Ultimate Balls, if the target is an Ultimate Beast, capture rate x5, value, 10 W points. Product 5, Light Ball, Pikachu's ability enhancement item, value, 5,000 points. This system store is really not serious. While Ash secretly complained in his heart, he did not forget to pin the Perfect Partner Ring product to the top. The pinned product will not disappear until it is bought. It seems that I have to work hard to get points. Ash looked at the store refreshed and made him drool and the 0 available points in his points column, and whispered to himself. He was quite satisfied with the system. As for the task of earning points. Current system task, arrive at Professor Oak Laboratory on time to collect Earl Dervish Pokémon Pikachu. Task reward, 6,000 points. Early in the morning of the next day. Ringing. In a burst of rapid alarm bells, Ash quickly turned over, got up, dressed and washed. Slow down, Ash, no one is competing with you. The gentle and intellectual Delia handed a glass of milk to Ash, who grabbed the sandwich on the table and gobbled it. After drinking the milk, Ash wiped the white milk stains on his lips with the back of his hand. Mom, I'm full. Today is an important day to pick up Earl Dervish Pokémon and set off on a trip. Don't be late. Ash, I'm relieved if you think so. When traveling alone, you have to do everything yourself. Come on. Delia encouraged with a smile. Mom, I'm leaving to pick up Pokémon from Professor Oak. Putting on a red and white cap and a backpack, Ash headed straight for Professor Oak's laboratory. Professor Oak's laboratory occupies a large area of ground, much larger than many luxurious manors. The outdoor courtyard is the area where Pokémon live, divided into several areas according to the Pokémon's attributes and habits. Sometimes there are Pokémon that are not very adaptable here, so Ash's Bulbasaur in the original world line volunteered to take on the job of mediator. Because he had to be on time and ensure that the 3 starter Pokémon were picked up, Ash still arrived at Professor Oak's laboratory behind the 3 trainers who set off from Pallet Town today. The first 2 rookies have already chosen their partners, Earl Dervish, and set off. They still chose Charmander and Bulbasaur from the original world line. Gary, Ash's childhood playmate and rival competitor, has not left yet. He is showing off his newly acquired Pokémon to the group of crazy girlfriends who are surrounding him in his luxury sports car. Seeing Ash coming, the arrogant hedgehog-headed Gary teased with a hint of sarcasm. "Oh, it's strange, our late King Ash actually arrived on time, but unfortunately, I have already got the Pokémon that matches my status as Master Gary, and you may have to wait for the next batch." If it were the past, Ash would have quarreled with him. But now Ash is not so straightforward. "Gary, have you ever heard of an idiom?" "What?" "The early bird catches the worm, I think it suits you." Hearing this, Gary was like a cat whose tail was stepped on, pointing at himself angrily. "You said I am a stupid bird? Haha, just wait, when the Indigo Plateau Conference comes, I will step on your head and win the championship." Ding! New mission released, Indigo Plateau Conference final ranking surpasses Gary. Mission reward, Pokémon carrying limit plus 6 points, 1 million. Hearing the system prompt, Ash looked at Gary with a more intimate look. "Okay, whoever loses at that time will be the stupid bird." After saying that, Ash went straight to Professor Oak's laboratory. This guy Ash, it seems that his temperament has changed a lot after not seeing him for a day. Faced with his own ridicule, Ash calmly responded and made him break down, which had never happened before. Gary felt an unprecedented sense of frustration. It was Ash who was jumping up and down before. "Humph, you dare to compare me to a stupid bird? Wait until I beat you up at the Indigo Plateau Conference and make you admit that you are the stupid bird." With a light snort, Gary turned around and smiled, hugged the cheerleading girlfriends and got on the sports car and drove away. In the laboratory, in front of Ash was an instrument with 3 red and white balls. "Ash, the 3 Pokémon prepared for Rookie have been. They have been picked, right? Gary just told me outside." Ash looked at Professor Oak and smiled. As if to say, "I'll wait here anyway. I'm not late, you can't let me not choose Earl Dervish as my partner." Seeing Ash so calm, Professor Oak couldn't help but look at him with some admiration. If it were in the past, he would have yelled a long time ago. As Gary said, the 3 Pokémon prepared for Rookie have been picked. Professor Oak pretended to be embarrassed, observing Ash's expression, hoping to see an anxious expression. Unfortunately, Ash didn't buy his tricks at all. "Damn old man, let my Pikachu out. Professor Oak, you have so many Pokémon here, you won't let me travel empty-handed?" Ash asked sincerely. But the words were full of pressure. Professor Oak shook his head immediately after hearing this. As one of the designated Earl Dervish Pokémon distribution locations of the Alliance, how could he let Trainer start his journey empty-handed? "Actually, I still have one left over, and his personality may have some problems." As he spoke, the center of the instrument table opened, and a Pokeball with a lightning pattern appeared in front of Ash. "It's okay, I just like Pokémon with personality." Professor Oak picked up the Pokeball containing Pikachu and handed it to Ash. "Then I'll give it to you." Ash took the Pokeball and opened it directly. Pikachu. With a flash of golden light, a petite, cute, harmless Pikachu appeared in front of the two. Ding! Mission completed, 6,000 points obtained. The system prompt sounded in Ash's mind. Exchange for Light Ball, give it to Pikachu. Ash exchanged for the Light Ball of item 5 without thinking. The exchanged Pikachu exclusive item Light Ball is stored in the system space. The host can equip it to the Pokémon with a thought, and the process can improve the intimacy of Pikachu. Really? Then equip it directly. The prompt sound of Pokeball assembly completion sounded. Pikachu shuddered. The look he gave Ash also became more intimate. Episode 2. Accept the mission and fight against the Spearow group. Pikachu. Pikachu winked at Ash cutely. Hello, Pikachu. Wait, Ash. Looking at Ash walking towards Pikachu, Professor Oak was about to remind him. This Pikachu is shy and introverted, and doesn't get close to humans. If you touch it without permission, it will easily be thunder-shocked. My name is Ash, and I will be your trainer in the future. Please give me your guidance. Before he finished speaking, Ash had already picked up the Pikachu on the table. Pikachu. Pikachu hesitated for a moment and put away his hostility towards him. The human trainer in front of it gave it a kind of intimacy, as if he was supposed to be its trainer. He didn't attack you? Professor Oak looked at Pikachu with a little surprise. Pikachu naturally ran to Ash's shoulder. Pikachu. It seemed to be expressing his love for Ash to Professor Oak. Looking at the harmonious relationship between them, it was like a pet of old friends. Professor Oak was surprised and very happy. Surprised at Ash's high affinity for Pokémon, and also happy that the problem Pokémon Pikachu can find a suitable owner. Mom, Professor Oak and everyone in Pallet Town, I'm leaving. Wait, I will definitely bring back the championship trophy of this Indigo Plateau conference. Professor Oak gave Ash the 6 blank Pokeballs and Pokemon Pokédex that are necessary for novices as usual, and then sent Ash out of the laboratory. Outside the laboratory, he met his mother Delia and the residents of the neighborhood who came to see him off. Ash gave his mother a hug, waved goodbye to everyone with great pride, and officially embarked on the journey. Ash, my child, I don't ask you to bring back the championship trophy, I just hope you can come back safely. Looking at her son's back, Delia's eyes were a little wet. Ding. Embark on the journey, the main task is triggered. Please win the championship at the Indigo Plateau Conference held this year. Mission reward, the main mission of region adopts a scoring mechanism. The system will score the host according to his performance at the Indigo Plateau Conference. The degree of reward depends on the score. Ash, who embarked on the journey, triggered the mission. Although he was very curious about the new scoring reward mechanism, the road to the Indigo Plateau Conference was still a long way off. Shaking his head, Ash began to check Pikachu's attribute. Pikachu. Attribute, electricity. Ability, static electricity. Level, 20. Species strength, 320. Qualification, gold. Skills, thunder shock, double team, quick attack, thunderbolt. Carrying props, light ball. Golden qualification, you are worthy of it. He said, touching Pikachu's head. Pikachu tilted his head, not knowing why. The qualifications judged by the system are divided into 5 levels: white, blue, purple, red, and gold, with white being the lowest level. The difference in Pokemon qualifications will affect the Pokemon's upgrade speed and the speed of understanding and perfecting skills. White is the lowest, while gold qualified Pokemon have much higher abilities than other Pokemon. The gap between the two becomes more obvious as the level increases. Most Pokemon will upgrade very slowly after entering the elite level, heading towards the nearest Viridian city. One person and one pet walked leisurely on the forest path. Most of the Pokemon living here are of low level, which is the best leveling area for rookie trainer. After walking 2 steps, Ash and Pikachu encountered 3 bird Pokemon foraging in the grass. The most common and gentle bird Pokemon Pidgey in the forest. 3 Pidgey. White. The uniform white qualifications made him lose interest in catching them. There was also his favorite Pidgeotto waiting for him in front. Ash has always been upset about the fool who released the Pidgeot in the original world. After a brief thought, Ash decided not to disturb them from foraging. Raticate. Just then, a Rattata ran past Ash and hit the foraging Pidgey. Bo. The frightened Pidgeys flapped their wings and flew towards soaring in the sky, and one of them even kicked up dust and flew away. Lie. Suddenly, a sharp and fierce cry sounded. In the grass farther away, the hunting Spearow, which was covered in dust by the Pidgey sand moving, turned around to look for the culprit, and its eyes were locked on Ash and Pikachu on the trail. Oh my, Spearow. The cancerous bully in the novice area. Ash's face changed slightly, not because Spearow is so powerful, but because they have always lived in groups and are very aggressive. Provoking one usually attracts a large group of Spearows. Fierce. Then Spearow flapped its wings and rushed straight towards the man and the pet. Ding, triggering the plot mission, Spearow in the rainstorm. Command Pikachu to repel the attack of the Spearow tribe. Mission reward, reward 10,000 points, advanced insulation ball, intermediate speed enhancement potion, host. It's not about defeating a Spearow, but the Spearow tribe. And it gives such a generous reward. So it's just to block your retreat. Ash's mouth twitched slightly, and he immediately raised his hand to give an order. Pikachu use Thunder Shock. Pikachu, who had already taken a fighting stance, had spark flashing on his body. Attribute Restraint. Spearow, who had no tactics and only knew to rush forward, was undoubtedly knocked to the ground by Pikachu's Thunder Shock. Fierce. However, before Ash had time to take a closer look at the level attribute of this hunting bird, a large group of Spearows rushed out of the bushes beside him. It seems that they heard the scream of this Spearow. As expected, the Spearow tribe is really unethical. They will never fight alone if they can fight in a group. Pikachu, Thunderbolt. Pikachu. Intense. The golden spark flashed, and Pikachu used a more powerful Thunder Shock. The Spearows in the front fell to the grass in response. Okay, Pikachu, it's time to run. While the Spearows were unable to react in time, Ash picked up the triumphant Pikachu and ran away. While running, he also looked up at the sky from time to time. He was brewing a plan to deal with the Spearows chasing them in groups. Intense. Behind, the Spearows were still chasing them. one in front and one behind. Ash, who burst out his potential at the critical moment and ran wildly with Pikachu in his arms, was not caught up by Spearow immediately. It's not a good idea to run like this. Stopped in front of a waterfall, Ash hugged Pikachu with one hand and pinched his nose with the other hand. Pikachu, hold on to me. Pika. Looking back at the Spearows that were chasing him at high speed, Ash took a leap of faith with Pikachu in his arms and jumped into the turbulent river. Plop. The strong water pressure pushed the man and his pet downstream. On the way, Ash and Pikachu, who were highly focused, avoided the ganks of Gyarados in the river and successfully got rid of the Spearows. Episode 3. Arrival, Tokyo City, downstream of the river. On the shore. A girl wearing a yellow sleeveless t-shirt, denim shorts, and an orange short ponytail sat cross-legged on a rock fishing. Gurgle gurgle. Bubbles were fluttering around the float. Eh? The orange-haired girl looked at the float, and a huge force came, pulling the float directly into the water. Such a strong reaction? It must be the legendary big prey. The orange-haired girl stood up and excitedly pulled up the fishing rod. The fishing rod was bent nearly 90 degrees. With a plop, one person and one pet were pulled out of the water. Ahem. Ash, who was pulled out of the water, gasped. Pikachu. Pikachu, who had been soaked in water for a long time, was in poor contest condition. There was no way. In order to avoid Gyarados in the water just now, he and Pikachu could only choose to take a long detour. What's going on? Is it a human? The orange-haired girl jumped in front of Ash. Misty, the heroine of the original series. By some strange coincidence, he and Pikachu were chased by Spearow and fell into the water, and the scene of being fished out by Misty was repeated. The encounter was basically the same as the original world line. Looking at the familiar dress and cute face approaching, Ash easily recognized her. Ding. Trigger the heroine's task. Please become a travel partner with Misty and establish a relationship. Task reward, 1 million points, top quality water Pokemon eggs. Oh my god, the system is wrong. The corners of Ash's mouth slightly raised after accepting the task. I wonder if this counts as dating at public expense? Hey, trainer, are you okay? No, I'm okay. Hello, I'm Ash from Pallet Town. As soon as Ash finished speaking, soaring in the sky actually flew over a black mass of Spearow. Lie. The leader was the first to be electrocuted by Pikachu. When he saw Ash and Pikachu, he immediately let out a sharp cry. Lend me this. Running to the trail, Ash decisively jumped on the bicycle parked on the trail and pedaled hard. Hey. That's my bicycle. I'll definitely return it to you next time. Looking at Ash disappearing in the forest, Misty's cheeks puffed slightly and she said angrily, really? On the grass, Ash pedaled his bicycle while looking back to confirm the distance between the Spearow group and himself. Boom boom. The thunderous sound sounded, and lightning flashed across the sky. The dazzling blue spark shone on Ash's handsome face. Pikachu, I'll leave it to you next. Pikachu. The Pikachu sitting in the basket nodded firmly. Since just now, Ash has been protecting him in his arms. Especially when facing Gyarados in the river, he never left him. Now it's finally his turn to repay Ash. Ding. Pikachu's favorability is increasing significantly. Fierce. Ash relaxed a little after hearing the system voice, and was immediately pecked by Spearow, who caught up with him. Whoosh. Ash grabbed the front of the bike with both hands and swung back. The tires rubbed against the ground fiercely, and after a 180-degree rotation, Ash used the bike as a weapon to smash a Spearow that was rushing towards him. It's up to you next, Pikachu. Pikachu. Pikachu stepped on Ash's shoulder with force, splashed high, and his cheeks flashed with dazzling sparks. Boom. The lightning and soaring in the sky seemed to be attracted by Pikachu, and the fierce sparks caused a violent explosion. The golden sparks that reached the sky instantly engulfed the Spearow group, Ash and Pikachu. The rain was pouring down, and the whole world was shrouded in a heavy rain curtain. Ding. Congratulations to the host. The task of commanding Pikachu to repel the attack of the Spearow tribe is completed. Task reward, 10,000 points, advanced insulation ball, intermediate speed enhancing potion, host. Pikachu level is increased to LV27. Learn a new move, agility. The rainstorm ends, and a rainbow emerges. The handsome boy holds the slightly tired Pikachu in his arms. Walking towards the sun, he arrives at the top of a small hill. A bird Pokemon with a golden glow and barely visible outline flies by soaring in the sky. Click. Ash raises the Pokemon Pokédex and takes a lot of photos. Pokemon Pokédex, the role of the camera at this moment. Ash, who knows the manifestation of Ho-Oh in the original plot, will naturally not miss this opportunity. This is Ho-Oh's $1 million direct shot. The world's first auction, the only one of its kind. Relying on Ho-Oh's information, he will definitely get a lot of benefits from Professor Oak. Misty's bicycle was finally blown up in the battle. Assist's natural power of pseudo-thunder is extremely powerful, and it also puts a great burden on Pikachu's body. The sun sets, and the red clouds fall on the earth. Ash holds Pikachu and arrives at the first city on the journey, Viridian City, before dusk. Residents of Viridian City have worked hard, and it will soon be time for dinner. Also, there have been frequent cases of pickpockets and thieves kidnapping Pokémon recently, so please be careful. As soon as the broadcast ended, Officer Jenny, who was dressed in a police uniform, happened to catch a glimpse of Ash running over with the depressed Pikachu. Damn it, it happened just after I finished talking. Don't run, stop right there, no suspicious people are allowed to pass. Jenny grabbed Ash's collar and stopped him. Officer Jenny, I'm not a suspicious person, I'm a trainer from Pallet Town. Pallet Town? You're the fourth one today. Jenny looked at Ash suspiciously. The first three she mentioned were obviously Gary and the others. Ash didn't say much and directly took out the Pokémon Pokédex that could prove his trainer identity. Sorry, you are really a trainer in Pallet Town. After confirming the identity, Jenny rode a police motorcycle and took Ash and Pikachu to the Pokémon Center. Ahem. What are you doing? Unforgivable, stop. Misty looked at the speeding motorcycle angrily with the burnt bicycle on her back. Pokémon Center. A red and white Pokeball-style building. In most towns around the world, trainers can enjoy free food, accommodation and medical care at the Pokémon Center with Pokémon Pokédex. Please, Nurse Joy. Although he was not injured, the attack by the thunder was serious after all, so Pikachu still needs to be checked thoroughly. And relieve his fatigue of the day. Nurse Joy, a nurse with long pink hair and a pretty smile, took Pikachu from Ash with a smile. Leave it to me, don't worry. As she said that, she waved behind her, and a pink Chansey came over with a cart. Give this child a full body check. Use fatigue relief potion, good luck. Chansey, blue qualification, level, LV25. Chansey and its evolution Blissey are both auxiliary Pokémon proficient in medical treatment, and are the most common assistants in Pokémon Center. The outdoor travel environment is harsh, and the medicines that can be carried are limited. At this time, it is very important to have a Chansey or Blissey in the team, which can save lives at critical moments. In this real Pokémon world, casualties exist. Every year, there are many cases of Pokémon dying because of failure to send to the doctor in time. So it is very important to have a healing Pokémon in the team. Of course, although Chansey and Blissey are so common in the Pokémon Center, it is difficult not to see them in the wild. Officer Jenny, I'm sorry to bother you this time. It's okay, it's my duty. After sending Jenny away, Ash sat alone in the lobby of the Pokémon Center and enjoyed a moment of peace. This day, he also consumed a lot. Episode 4. Trade, Ho-Oh photos, ding ling ling. Hello, Mom, it's me, I've arrived in Viridian City. Seeing that it was her son calling, Delia was surprised to get to the phone and picked up the receiver. You've arrived in Viridian City so soon, that's great. Hearing his mother Delia's voice, Ash smiled knowingly. Ash briefly told his mother Delia about what happened during the journey, and briefly mentioned the fierce chase in the Spearow battle. He told her not to worry too much, and that he would call her every time he arrived in a new city. After listening to Delia's earnest advice, Ash asked his mother to take care of herself and hung up the phone. Clang. Then, the door of the Pokémon Center was pushed open. Misty, panting, rushed to Ash with a burnt and deformed bicycle on her back and said angrily, "You are really here? Sorry, I will compensate you with a brand new bicycle tomorrow when my Pikachu recovers," Ash said apologetically. The battle was so intense that Misty almost forgot about it. Although she was inexplicably angry, she forgave Ash after seeing his sincere apology and concern for Pikachu. Is Pikachu seriously injured? It's okay, but it was difficult to drive away the Spearows. It's hard to guarantee that it didn't have any hidden injuries. As he said that, Ash described the situation when he was chased by the Spearows. You beat away so many Spearows. Are you really a rookie trainer who just started traveling? After confirming that it was understandable for Ash to borrow her bicycle, Misty couldn't help but sigh at Ash's wit. In that emergency, he could still think of a plan to use the assist weather factor to increase the power of Pikachu's skills. Not long after, the lights in the ward went out. Joy brought the recovered Pikachu over. Thank you, Nurse Joy. You're welcome. This is what I should do. Pikachu. After a treatment, the exhausted Pikachu deftly broke free from Joy's arms and jumped onto Ash's shoulder. That's where he likes to be the most. You and Pikachu have a great relationship. You don't look like a new rookie trainer. Nurse Joy praised with a smile. Really? Someone asked me that just now. As he said that, Ash looked at Misty on the side. By the way, Misty, don't you need to restore your Pokémon? No, I've been fishing today, and the Pokémon are resting in their Pokeballs. Misty shook her head and said. After Joy left, the phone suddenly rang. After the call was connected, Professor Oak appeared on the phone screen. Ash, it's me, Professor Oak. Hearing this, Ash and Misty walked to the phone. Ash introduced Misty to Professor Oak, and Misty hurriedly greeted the professor politely, with a slightly nervous expression. After all, the other party is a professor famous throughout the Pokémon world. Professor, how do you know I'm already in Viridian City? Your mother just called me and said you were in Viridian City, so I thought of calling the Viridian Pokémon Center. Professor Oak said, I think you must be here. He knew that Ash's family was not rich, and his financial resources were basically from his mother Delia. It's definitely impossible to stay in a hotel during the trip. Looking at Professor Oak, it seems that he remembered something. Ash stuffed the Pokémon Pokédex into Misty's hand. Misty, please help me check in together. Professor Oak and I have something to talk about. Misty, who was already a little nervous, nodded and took the Pokémon Pokédex to find Nurse Joy. Ash, you deliberately sent your friends away. It seems that you have gained a lot from this trip. Tell me, how many Pokémon have you caught with the Pokeball I gave you? None, I didn't meet any suitable ones to train. Ahem. After coughing awkwardly, Professor Oak smiled and said, although you didn't catch any Pokémon, you have finally arrived in Viridian City. This is also a big step in your travel life. Professor Oak comforted Ash. Fortunately, he didn't have high expectations for Ash at the beginning. There are many trainers who have left Pallet Town, and his grandson Gary has recently caught a lot of Pokémon. Professor Oak, the 3-bird Pokémon on the stone slab of the Pokémon Center are all legendary Pokémon. Ash changed the subject and pointed to the stone mural on the wall and said, yes, they are all the research topics I dream of. Professor Oak blurted out without thinking. Then these Pokémon research materials should be valuable. Ash asked with a smile. That's for sure. Wait, Ash, what do you mean? Professor Oak reacted with his eyes shining. He stared at Ash excitedly, wishing he could get out of the screen. Professor guessed right. I met Ho-Oh and even took a photo of her. How about it? Professor, name a price and buy it. Okay. Professor Oak agreed immediately and continued, 50,000 Pokémon coins, I want to buy Ho-Oh's photo. The opening price was the cost of Ash's several-month trip. But for Ho-Oh's photo, this amount of money is definitely not enough. And if he earns more travel expenses for himself, his mother Delia will also bear less burden. 200,000, this is a legendary Pokémon. Many people may not see her once in their lifetime. Hearing this, Professor Oak nodded without thinking and said, okay, at your price, deal. Ash was right. Many researchers will never see the legendary Pokémon in their lifetime. This type of Pokémon is not only rare, but also mostly lives in places where there are few people or in extreme weather. Besides, the Alliance sponsors him a lot of research funds every year. It just happens to sponsor the trainers who go out of Pallet Town. Seeing Professor Oak agreed so decisively, Ash couldn't help but sigh at the strong attraction of legendary Pokémon to researchers. With this batch of Pokémon coins, he won't need to ask his mother Delia for living expenses for a long time. Of course, if you want to buy Pokémon supplies, these Pokémon coins are definitely not enough. These things have to be exchanged by earning system points. The light ball exchanged for Pikachu alone can be sold for hundreds of thousands on the market. This is still under the limitation of light ball as a Pikachu exclusive prop. If it is replaced with other more practical Pokémon props, the price will be even higher. The profession of trainer has never lacked rich people. Episode 5. Complete the mission and defeat Team Rocket. Professor, the photo you requested has been sent to your computer. Yes, the money will be transferred to your account soon. The transaction was completed, and the Pokémon Pokédex sounded a reminder that the money had been received. In addition to identifying Pokémon and proving identity, the Pokémon Pokédex also has multiple functions such as camera, video recording, and online banking account. This is the official alliance for the convenience of trainer travel. Only trainers who pick up Earl Dervish Pokémon from the designated location of the Alliance can have it. It is a very convenient device. Ash, keep working hard on the next trip. Try to take pictures. No, I mean catch more Pokémon. After speaking, Professor Oak hung up the phone at the speed of light, obviously can't wait to study the Ho-Oh photos sent by Ash. Now there is controversy in the academic community about whether Ho-Oh exists, and the photo taken by Ash is of great significance. What, a photo can be sold for 200,000? Of course, that's a legendary Pokémon. That was taken while riding my bicycle. You have to treat me to a good meal. Ha ha ha, please, please, I'll definitely treat you. Although Misty said that she wanted Ash to spend a lot of money and order the most delicious dishes, in fact, she chose a restaurant with medium prices. Through this treat, Ash successfully got closer to Misty. As the heroine of the original series, she is perfect in all aspects except for her tsundere personality. Of course, it is this tsundere that makes the stupid guy in the original Worldline treat her as a buddy. Without waiting for Ash to organize his words to trick her into joining, Misty took the initiative to propose the idea of traveling together. Pikachu standing on Ash's shoulder welcomed him. The two returned to the Pokémon Center from the hotel. As soon as they entered the lobby, the urgent alarm sounded suddenly. There are foreign enemies invading the Pokémon Center. It must be the criminal gang that has been active in Viridian City recently, Team Rocket. Joy, who looked a little panicked, said to the two of them while holding a newspaper. Ash glanced at them. Aren't these the familiar Team Rocket trio? These three guys are the comedians of Team Rocket, and they are also quite unique. Team Rocket? They are really power trip guys, and they dare to attack the Pokémon Center directly. Misty, who was born as a gym leader, naturally hates evil organizations. What's the big deal? Team Rocket's influence spans the two major regions of Kanto and Johto Region, and Kanto is his base camp. Even the Silver Building can be invaded, so what's a mere Pokémon Center? Of course, Ash was just thinking about these in his mind. Besides, he is just a rookie trainer. After all, Giovanni, the boss of Team Rocket, may still be wearing a kind smile and welcoming challengers at the Viridian gym. If someone believes it, the situation may be even worse. Team Rocket, with 3 beastmen, 4 generals, and 3 executives, is an evil organization that has the power to challenge the authority of the Alliance. Before he has enough self-protection capabilities, he is only willing to play with the comedian trio in front of him. Ash, we can't just stand by and watch this. As if she had let the cat out of the bag, Misty quickly shut her mouth. As what? Don't just say half of it. Ash's mouth corners slightly raised, and he smiled and teased. Humph, as a trainer trained by the Pokémon Alliance, is it okay? Yes, of course. Avoiding Misty's hand that stretched out to twist his ear, Ash looked at Nurse Joy and said seriously, "You go take care of the Pokémon first, and leave Team Rocket to us. Then, please leave it to you too." Joy was originally very worried about the Pokémon in the recovery period. Hearing what Ash said, he immediately turned around and ran towards the ward. Ding! System task released. Defeat the 3 members of Team Rocket and protect the Pokémon Center from destruction. Mission rewards, Qualification Enhancement Potion. Pokémon with qualification below Gold will have their potential increased by 1 level after using it. Joy family intimacy increased by 10%. Bang! At the same time, the glass roof above their heads shattered. 2 Pokeballs fell, and Coughing and Eakins appeared. Then the Rocket Team trio descended from the sky. Coughing, use smoke. Vass released billowing smoke in the Pokémon Center lobby. What is this? Misty looked at the figures in the smoke. Ash thought to himself that it was not good. Let Misty trigger the other party's auto-reply function. Since you asked sincerely. Then I will be merciful and tell you. That's it, meow. The familiar lines of the appearance, the Rocket Team trio officially appeared. Coughing and Eakins were in front of them. MSDY's face changed slightly, it was indeed the Rocket Team that attacked. They are really brave. At this moment, she was a little embarrassed looking at the Rocket trio. Her Pokémon are mainly water type, and they are all Pokémon like Goldeen and Stereo that can only play well in water. Can they deal with the notorious Rocket Team? 1 o'clock on the left. Pikachu, Thunderbolt. On the other side, facing the monitoring of the front desk computer, Ash decisively ordered Pikachu to attack. Pikachu. Pikachu jumped from Ash's shoulder, dazzling spark flashed, and Thunderbolt penetrated the smoke. Eakins, Wasdao and the Rocket trio were hit by Thunder Shock one after another, screaming. The smoke originally used to block the Pokémon Center lobby was used by Ash instead. Ash. Seeing this scene, Misty was stunned. Stereo, tackle. After she reacted, she immediately threw the Pokeball. Starfish. Rapid spin. Stereo hit sideways. Boom boom. The Rocket Trio and their 2 Pokémon were knocked out of the Pokémon Center gate. Meow. After being hit by such a combination of punches, Meowth did react, but Jessie and James were knocked unconscious. Helplessly, Meowth could only jump up and command the injured Vastu and Ekans. The 2 Pokémon who lost their trainer were a little hesitant in the face of Meowth's command, so they couldn't avoid the subsequent thunder shock of Pikachu, and they were both knocked to the ground by the electric shock. Oh no, this little Pikachu is not easy to deal with. Meow. As soon as the voice fell, Meowth was also knocked unconscious by the tackle performed by Stereo, who chased out. Ding. Mission completed, rewarded with qualification upgrade potion. Pokémon with qualification below gold will have their potential increased by 1 level after using. Joy family intimacy increased by 10%. Item rewards have been issued from the system space and can be taken out at any time. Okay, Misty. The message in his mind sounded, and Ash hurriedly stopped Misty, who wanted to continue to command Stereo to attack. They have fainted. Hey, it seems to be true. I didn't expect you to determine the location of Team Rocket in the smoke through monitoring. That's amazing. Seeing the crisis resolved, Misty immediately gave Ash a thumbs up. Her Stereo can play a role in the battle. It basically all depends on Pikachu's Thunderbolt attack. Episode 6. Challenging the Tokiwa Gym? I'm not stupid. You guys, stay in jail and reflect on your actions, and wait for the Alliance's plan to deal with you. There was quite a commotion at the Pokémon Center, and Officer Jenny, who arrived later, put silver bracelets on the 3 people. Signaling the subordinate police officers to take them to the car, Officer Jenny turned and walked to Ash and the others. Trainer Ash, thank you for your outstanding contribution to the fight against crime. These 3 Rocket team members are on the wanted list. The police station will transfer the bonus to your account later. Is that so? Thank you, Officer Jenny. Ash's eyes lit up. He didn't expect to get money like this. Looking at the unconscious Rocket Team trio in the police car, Ash's smile became more and more outrageous. These 3 guys are protected by the halo of the villain protagonist. It shouldn't be difficult to escape from the police station. Besides, because of Jessie's mother, Giovanni couldn't completely ignore the trio's experience. Next time, can he still send them to other police stations to make money? This is a perfect candidate for a mobile ATM. Damn little brat, we will never forgive you. Wait, we're going to get that powerful Pikachu. Wait, Meow, we will definitely come out to avenge you. We will take all your Pokémon away, Meow. The awakened Team Rocket trio kept threatening Ash. Humph, you are totally lawless, I'm watching. I won't give you a chance to escape the police station. Officer Jenny, who was kind and gentle to Ash and the other 2, sternly rebuked the Team Rocket trio. How unreasonable, they dared to threaten the good citizens who were brave enough to do what was right. Soon, the trio's miserable screams came from the police car. Officer Jenny, thank you. Ash smiled and waved to the police car. This Officer Jenny is really conscientious, but it is obviously impossible to keep the trio in prison. I'm afraid it won't be long before Team Rocket will bail them out. Team Rocket is known by most trainers as a black and evil force spanning 2 regions, and Giovanni must have someone in the Pokémon Alliance. Otherwise, the Pokémon Alliance would never have watched them grow to their current size. It is no exaggeration to say that if Kanto did not have the strongest Elite Four team headed by Yulongdu. If it were another alliance with weaker top combat power, it would probably be suppressed by Team Rocket. Ash, Misty, thanks to you this time, otherwise the Pokémon in the Pokémon Center would be in danger. You saved them. You will be good friends of our Joy family from now on. After Officer Jenny left, Nurse Joy came forward and sincerely thanked Ash and Misty. You are so polite. Misty replied. Nurse Joy is so polite. If we were not there, you could also send Pokémon to Pokémon centers in other cities through the teleportation machine, right? Ash and Nurse Joy exchanged some polite words. He still cares about the friendship of the Joy family. The 2 families of Jenny and Jenny spanned various regions. It is not an exaggeration to say that they are the oldest families in the Pokémon world. She must have a lot of valuable information in her hands. If you can max out the favorability of the Joy family, there will definitely be many unexpected benefits. Looking at Joy, Ash thought secretly in his heart. No, you are too modest, Ash. The Joy family will remember your help to me this time. Nurse Joy shook her head and did not explain much. Secretly remember Ash's kindness in her heart. It is indeed a way to send all the Pokeballs to other Pokemon centers through the teleporter before Team Rocket takes action. But teleporting also takes time. Team Rocket had already entered the Pokemon Center, and she didn't have that much time to complete these operations. At most, she could only teleport some Pokemon away. The remaining Pokemon, including her own life, would be threatened by the 3 members of Team Rocket. Ash, you are so smart. You can think of using surveillance to fight Pokemon. I really admire you. At this time, Misty also came up. After this incident, she was also considering whether to add a few water-type Pokemon that are good at land combat. That's right, I'm good in many ways. You will see it during the trip. Misty immediately rolled her eyes at Ash. I take back my previous evaluation. Obviously, your face is better than your combat level. How can you praise yourself like this? Here it comes, this is Misty's classic tsundere. No matter how convinced she is in her heart, she will definitely have to say a few words to Ash when she sees this face. Ha ha ha, I got another bonus this time. How about treating you to the most expensive ice cream in Viridian City? No need. The ice cream tastes similar. The expensive part is basically in the packaging. Just buy me 2 ice creams. Misty will subconsciously help Ash save money. There are many places where you need to spend money during travel. It is better to save where you can. Ash, Misty, and Pikachu, I will treat you to dinner next time you come to Viridian City. Well, next time, Nurse Joy. Pikachu. On the morning of the next day, Ash and his pet said goodbye to Nurse Joy and left the Pokemon Center in Viridian City. Hey, I suddenly remembered it, Ash. What? Ash looked at Misty curiously. Misty said, I remember there is a gym in Viridian City. Don't you want to try to challenge it? Ash looked at Misty suspiciously and refused decisively. Not to mention that he only has Pikachu. In recent years, since Giovanni took over, countless senior Pokemon trainers have failed in the Tokyo gym. Misty, who is also a gym owner, cannot be unaware of this. If she were a fool in the original world line, she would have been fooled by him and beaten up by Giovanni. Hehe, do you think I don't know your little thoughts? Compared to the Tokyo gym, the Cerulean gym is more suitable for a rookie trainer like me to challenge, isn't it? Misty, who was originally smiling, immediately stopped laughing. She didn't expect Ash to suddenly mention his own gym. Although she didn't want to admit it in her heart. But the Cerulean gym is indeed the most popular gym for Kanto rookie trainers, no doubt about it. As the weakest gym in Kanto, trainers will not hesitate to take down the gym badge here first. There are more than 10 gyms in Kanto that meet the requirements of the Indigo Plateau Conference. Most normal trainers think of challenging the weak ones to collect badges. It's all her sister's fault for not focusing on Pokemon battles. Misty knows this very well, and she travels for her sisters and to become stronger. So that she can revitalize the Cerulean gym. Episode 7. Misty, who is afraid of insects, conquers Caterpie. Since Ash is not interested in challenging the Viridian gym. The two did not stay in Viridian City for long, but set off for the next city. Before leaving, the bonus promised by Officer Jenny also arrived, attacking 100,000 Pokemon coins. Then Ash proposed to buy Misty a bicycle, but Misty felt that it was unnecessary to ride when traveling with Ash, so she refused. Forget about the bicycle. Just give me a water-type Pokemon as compensation in the future. Just like that, the two set off. Leaving Viridian City, the nearest city to the two is Nibby City. Nibby's rock-type gym is just right for Ash's first gym battle. Ding! Gym mission trigger, challenge Nibby Gym, get badge. Basic challenge, defeat the Gym Master, win, and reward 3W points. Advanced challenge, defeat all Pokemon of the Nibby Gym Master and all 3 Pokemon retain combat capabilities, reward 50,000 points. Perfect challenge, defeat the Nibby Gym leader by using reverse attributes throughout the whole process, and you will be rewarded with 50,000 points, 5 rare candies, 1 to 30 levels, and the intimacy of the Nibby Gym leader will be increased by 80%. If the Pokemon you hold is not attribute restrained, you can use Pokemon with the same attribute. Improve Xiaojiang's intimacy, no dog wants it. After reading the task description, Ash decisively took the advanced challenge. Reverse attributes throughout the whole process. Does the system not want him to be a master of reverse attributes? 5 rare candies are somewhat tempting, but he was still discouraged by the intimacy of the gym leader. The system is in a groove. If intimacy is changed to friendship value, he can barely accept it. On the way from Viridian City to Nibi City, you will pass through the Viridian Forest, the largest area in the Kanto region, and the outer area. Although it is called the outer area, there are many types of wild Pokémon. The overall level is not too high, very friendly to rookie trainer. It is just right to train Pikachu to level up more, and catch a few Pokémon to enrich the lineup and challenge the Nibi gym. Accompanied by a sharp soprano, Misty, who looks like a female man, is now in a little woman's posture, with her arms around Ash's neck and held in his arms. Ash, there are bugs under my feet. Not long after entering the evergreen forest, she was startled by a Caterpie that suddenly appeared and jumped on Ash like a conditioned reflex. Relax, Misty, don't be nervous, it's just a Caterpie, it's pretty cute. Feeling the softness in his arms, Ash patted Misty's back. It can be seen that Misty's fear of bugs is really deep. A Caterpie can make her jump up and down. Caterpie is a bug, I am most afraid of bugs, not cute at all. Misty still hugged Ash and didn't relax, with her white and slender legs on Ash's forearm. The whole person seemed to be hanging firmly on Ash like a koala. Pikachu, please drive this Caterpie away. Pikachu, jumping off Ash's shoulder, Pikachu knocked Caterpie to the ground with a quick attack and fainted. Okay, Misty, I'll send Caterpie away now. Touched Misty's white arm and loosened her neck that was a little sore from being strangled. Ash put Misty down from his arms. Then hurry up. Misty turned her back to Ash, her voice trembling. Ash smiled bitterly, stepped forward to confirm that Caterpie was fine, and put him in the hidden place of the grass next to him, making sure he would not be attacked by his natural enemy bird Pokémon, and then took Misty away. White qualification, level LV5. This Caterpie has poor qualifications and is timid, unlike the stupid one in the original world line. The group continued to move forward, encountering many Weedles, Rattatas, Caterpies, and the like on the way. All of them became Pikachu's experience packs. After the embarrassment just now, Misty was still afraid when she saw the bugs, but her reaction was much smaller. She just hid behind Ash, holding on to the corner of his clothes, and occasionally poked her head out to check the situation. Thanks to the continuous battle leveling along the way, Pikachu's level was slightly improved. Pikachu level, LV27 LV.29. At the same time, the proficiency of various skills has also improved a lot. Ash is also happy about this, and he is not frustrated when he doesn't encounter the Pokémon he wants to capture. Seeing Ash and Pikachu obsessed with fighting and becoming stronger, Misty was a little scared, but she didn't urge Misty to leave the evergreen forest. Although there are scary bugs everywhere. But considering that Ash is still a rookie trainer, there are a large number of low-level wild Pokémon living outside the evergreen forest, which can allow Pokémon to quickly upgrade and accumulate practical experience, reducing the difficulty of challenging the gym. Misty chose to follow Ash and move forward carefully. After walking for about half an hour, a Caterpie lying in the middle of the road attracted Ash's attention. At this time, Caterpie was lowering his head to eat the green leaves that fell on the ground. Seeing Ash and the other two coming, he was still indifferent and had no fear. Caterpie, blue qualification. Ash's eyes lit up immediately. This should be the one that he was supposed to capture. Although it has some dog-licking attributes, its fast evolution cycle really supported Ash's novice period. After evolving into Butterfree, its battle record is also very good. And Ash just had the idea of capturing a Pokémon in his mind. Ding! Triggering the capture task, the first capture battle of the novice trainer. Combat capture, 1000 points, reward rare candy, level 1 to 20, x5. 1 ball Superman. The Pokeball used to capture Caterpie will reduce the chance of capturing Pokémon in the future query. After reading the task description, Ash decisively chose to capture it in battle. He didn't want to be called a dog. Authentic Pokémon capture still has to be captured in battle. Pikachu, please, Thunder Shock. Pikachu, jumping off Ash's shoulder, Pikachu stretched out his short hands and patted his chest, indicating that it was no problem to leave it to him. Then a golden spark lit up on his body and attacked Caterpie. Caterpie, who was still grazing, was knocked unconscious by Pikachu's Thunder Shock without noticing anything. Caterpie was defeated with one blow, and Pikachu jumped back onto Ash's shoulder. Good job, Pikachu. Ash praised generously. Pikachu. Pikachu waved his short hands proudly. As if to say, it's no big deal. Okay, now. Pokeball, go. Ash raised his Pokeball and shouted loudly after getting into position. He threw the empty red and white ball in his hand at Caterpie, who had fainted on the ground. The red and white ball hit Caterpie and automatically opened to suck him in. Then the red and white ball fell to the ground and shook a few times symbolically. Ding! Caterpie, captured successfully. Ding, the task is completed. Reward points 1000, reward rare candy, level 1 to 20, x5. It is still stored in the system space and can be taken out when used. A voice appeared in his mind, reminding him that the task has been completed. Ash's mouth corners slightly raised. When Caterpie reaches LV16, you can use rare candy to let it directly enter LV21. This is the only way to maximize the value of rare candy. The higher the level, the more experience points are required to upgrade one level. Practical combat, special training, etc. can't be left behind. Episode 8. Evolve, Metapod. Good. I captured Caterpie. Pika picked up the Caterpie Pokeball. Ash made a gesture. Except for Earl Dervish's Pokémon Pikachu, Caterpie was his first Pokémon after all, so it was of great significance. But Ash couldn't do the same thing as in the original World line, where he repeatedly showed off in front of Misty after capturing Caterpie. Every time he recalled those scenes, he couldn't help but sigh at the stupid thing's nerves. Caterpie. Qualification, Blue. Level, LV7. Ability, Scale Powder. Skills, Tackle, String Shot. Carried items, none. Caterpie's attribute Normal, Blue qualification, may take several times longer to reach the elite level than Pikachu. The ability Scale Powder is good, and it is protected by the Scale Powder and is not affected by the additional effects of moves. After evolving into Butterfree, the ability will also become a compound eye that increases the hit rate of the moves, which is very important for him who relies on various status condition powder moves. Ash, how did you capture a Caterpie? Misty came up and reminded, although Caterpie is easy to evolve, its potential is limited, and it is difficult for it to accompany the trainer to the end. She saw that Ash had never captured Pokémon along the way, and guessed that he should have the mentality of not having anything better than something bad. So he reminded her specially. Even if Caterpie has good qualifications, the final evolution form of Butterfree is less than 400 species strength. It's okay, Misty, I'm very optimistic about him. Ash explained with a smile. Okay, as long as you know it in your mind. Seeing that Ash looked confident, Misty didn't persuade him much. She just gave Ash advice from the perspective of a gym trainer. Considering that he is a rookie trainer after all, she didn't want him to take a detour. Now it seems that he still has to hit a wall. If Caterpie is really strong, why can it be seen everywhere in the forests of Kanto? It has been captured by trainers, Pokémon hunters, and evil organizations such as Team Rocket. However, she didn't know. For Ash, who has the system, as long as he is willing to work hard, ordinary Pokémon can be cultivated to the strength of legendary Pokémon. Next, take advantage of the lunch break. After Misty fell asleep, Ash checked the system space and took out the qualification improvement potion from it. The potential of Pokémon with gold or lower qualifications will be increased by 1 level after use. This is the potion he obtained after completing the task of defeating Team Rocket. The potion is green and the bottle is oval. It is a very standard laboratory vessel. The liquid is crystal clear and rich in the breath of life. Just give it to Caterpie, anyway, you can get it by completing tasks or points in the future. Thinking of this, Ash opened the Pokeball and released Caterpie. The little guy's eyes were attracted by the potion in Ash's hand. He showed an extremely covet look. It's for you, don't worry. Ash opened the bottle stopper and poured the sticky green liquid onto a green leaf. Caterpie climbed onto the green leaf and instantly absorbed all the liquid. A faint green light bloomed on her body. Caterpie. Qualification, Purple. Level, LV7. Ability, Scale Powder. Skills, Tackle, String Shot. After using the qualification enhancement potion, Caterpie's original blue qualification was upgraded to purple. The intimacy with Ash also increased significantly. It's not much different from Pikachu. I guess after a while, his intimacy will be maxed out. Ash raised his eyebrows slightly, very satisfied with the effect of the qualification enhancement potion. With purple qualifications, promotion to elite level is no longer a dream. As for the difficult upgrade path after elite level, that will be a matter for the future. Since the system can give enhancement potions below gold qualifications, maybe it can also give gold qualification potions as rewards in the future. For now, he only needs to train Caterpie with confidence. Lunch break is over. After Caterpie joined the team, Ash and his team continued on their journey. All the wild Pokémon they encountered on the way were dealt with by Pikachu if they were of high level, and those of Caterpie of similar level became experience packs for his growth. After winning several battles in a row, Caterpie's level was raised from LV7 to LV8. It can only be said that the experience points obtained by the purple qualified Caterpie in a battle are obviously much higher than those of the blue qualified ones. Hey! Ash, is Caterpie going to evolve? It is worthy of being one of the fastest evolving Pokémon. Misty looked at the Caterpie on the ground in surprise, whose whole body was covered by the bright white evolution light. Along the way, she witnessed several battles of Caterpie. Although she was afraid of bug-type Pokémon, Misty was still shocked by the fighting power of Ash's Caterpie. Caterpie's string shot is extraordinary in both speed and toughness. Once entangled, it is difficult to break free. Compared with those weak Caterpies, it is much stronger. I think it will be able to improve greatly after evolving into Butterfree. It seems that Ash's vision of Pokémon is indeed better than hers. Misty thought with a slightly red face. She just advised Ash not to capture Caterpie. With such vision and calm and composed battle command, it is only a matter of time to collect all the gym badges. Maybe rookie trainer Ash can really perform brilliantly at the Indigo Plateau Conference. Even as long as Ash keeps this momentum, he can compete for the top 8 or even the top 4. After all, he basically has to face veteran trainers who have traveled for several years and have rich combat experience. Misty stared at Ash and thought silently. Ash's eyes were all focused on Caterpie, which was shrouded in the light of evolution. Unlike the boring game screen, when Caterpie's figure began to change under the shining light of evolution, Ash was still very excited. At this moment, he could understand the feelings of those Pokémon fans who loved Pokémon in their previous lives and traveled with Pokémon. As the light gradually faded, a completely new figure that was completely different from the Caterpie form appeared in front of Ash and others. A blue crescent-shaped pupa, with segments at the tail and front, and eyes that were often half open and half closed. This is the evolution of Caterpie, Metapod. In the Metapod stage, it is in the contest condition waiting for evolution, and it will harden the shell to protect itself. Try to consolidate the outer shell so that it can protect the soft and fragile body that is evolving. Just wait for the moment of breaking out of the cocoon and becoming a butterfly. So during the Metapod period, try to avoid fighting, so that it can absorb the power accumulated during the Caterpie period faster, and accumulate strength for a breakthrough. After the level is naturally increased, it can evolve into Butterfree. Episode 9. Pidgeotto joins the team and the Rockets rescue him. At night, cool breeze, twinkling stars. Under the bright moonlight, a beautiful Butterfree flew by, scattering silver scales. Ash hugged Metapod with a face full of longing and smiled. Metapod, it won't be long before you can also usher in the moment of breaking out of the cocoon and becoming a butterfly. Pikachu. Pikachu nodded repeatedly in agreement. One person and two pets chatted and laughed under the moonlight. Ding. Metapod's intimacy has been greatly improved, approaching the upper limit. Metapod's level has been raised to LV9. Bye. The next morning, Ash and Misty, who were sleeping soundly, were awakened by a loud birdsong. What happened, Ash? Shoo. It seems to be a Pidgeotto. Pokémon, Pidgeotto. Level, LV25. Qualification, Red. Ability, Sharp Eyes. Skills, Tackle, Gust, Quick Attack, Sand Swing, Hurricane, etc. Carrying props, none. It can only be said that it is worthy of being the Pokémon of the protagonist Ash. In the early stage, Pidgeot still achieved good results despite various stupid operations. Among the home birds, it is very good in both appearance and combat power. The ability of sharp vision is also a standard feature of bird Pokémon. After all, high-speed flying and dive attacks require good vision. Pokémon battles have to deal with various variables. No matter how powerful the skills are, they are no threat if they cannot hit. Pikachu, Thunderbolt. Pika. The dazzling spark flashed, and Pidgeotto, who got up early to forage, was electrocuted and dizzy, and then was captured by Ash with a ball. After capturing Pidgeotto, Ash was in a good mood. Pidgeotto is definitely to be cultivated as a main Pokémon. As for the release drama in the future, it will definitely not be repeated. Come, Pidgeotto, I'll treat your wounds first. Ash opened the Pokeball and released Pidgeotto from the Pokeball, healed it from the battle with Pikachu, and communicated with it to improve intimacy. Pikachu soon became friends with Pidgeotto. Pidgeotto did not resist Ash, who defeated him. In fact, except for a few Pokémon with eccentric personalities. Most Pokémon have no resistance to being captured by powerful human trainers, as long as the trainer performs well enough to make them recognize from the bottom of their hearts. Not to mention that they can eat well without foraging after following human trainers. The growth rate of Pokémon cultivated by humans is very different from that of Pokémon that grow stronger alone in the wild. There are many cases where Pokémon that were originally very inconspicuous in the tribe directly become leaders after being released back to the tribe after traveling with human trainers for a period of time. Pidgeotto is so energetic, it seems that Ash has captured another powerful Pokémon. Misty couldn't help but admire Pidgeotto, who was full of energy immediately after applying the medicine. You know, it just took Pikachu's full-strength Thunderbolt attack, which is very uncomfortable for flying Pokémon that is already restrained by the electric type. Potion certainly works, but it is impossible to take effect immediately. Pidgeotto's excellent recovery ability accounts for a large factor. Compared with Caterpie, this Pidgeotto may be even better. It seems that I should also let Ash help me choose a water Pokémon to capture. Misty was even more impressed with Ash's eye for Pokémon. After capturing Pidgeotto, Ash and Misty continued to explore in the evergreen forest. Ash currently has 3 Pokémon. Electric-type Pikachu, negligible Metapod, plus the normal and flying-type Pidgeotto that he just captured. Facing the rock-type Nibby Gym, he can't take advantage. It's a bit difficult to complete the advanced challenge. Ash plans to stay in the evergreen forest for a while, and it would be best if he can capture the grass and water Pokémon he likes. If he happens to catch a grass Pokémon, let Pidgeotto level up. If he captures a water Pokémon, let Pikachu level up. Attribute restraint is undoubtedly the best leveling strategy. Leveling holy places like the evergreen forest should be cherished. Misty has no objection to Ash's decision. She also wanted to capture water-type Pokémon, and even though she was very close to Nibe City, she still didn't dare to walk out of the Viridian forest alone. After all, insect Pokémon can be found almost everywhere in the Viridian forest. She would be scared to death if she ran into a few of them. She felt safe only when she was with Ash. Meanwhile, in the Viridian gym, inside the office, Giovanni, wearing an orange suit and a slicked-back hair, sat on the sofa and stroked the head of Persian, who was lying on his side. Midori, what's the situation with those 3 guys now? Giovanni looked sideways at the secretary Midori, who was wearing a black silk uniform and had short hair and glasses, and asked. Boss, Jesse, James, and Meowth have been imprisoned in the police station after their failed attack on the Viridian Pokémon Center. Jenny, who caught them, takes this very seriously. Midori reported to Giovanni seriously. No matter what, get them out. Giovanni narrowed his eyes and said in a deep voice, warn the 3 of them after they are released on bail. Things like openly attacking the Pokémon Center must not happen again. Yes, boss. Mikoto didn't seem surprised by Giovanni's attitude. She has been Giovanni's personal secretary for many years. The only low-level members of the organization that he can always think of are Jesse, James, and Meowth. Although Giovanni scolds them at every turn, he will come forward to protect them every time they get into trouble. After Mikoto leaves the office. Ding-ling-ling, Giovanni answered the phone and an old woman with silver hair appeared on the screen. How is little Jessie now? Mom, they openly attacked the Pokémon Center and made quite a commotion. I have asked Mikoto to bail him out. Giovanni's face showed a rare soft expression. Ha ha ha, attacking the Pokémon Center, you don't want to make money from the Pokémon in the Pokémon Center. She is just like her mother Miyamoto. The old woman's wrinkled face showed a nostalgic look, as if she had no burden for attacking the Pokémon Center. Child, no matter how big Team Rocket grows, take good care of Jessie. If I hadn't insisted on sending Miyamoto to the South American mountains to perform the mission, she wouldn't have been buried in the snow by Mew's rage. Giovanni also had a complicated expression when he heard this. I will support her to the best of my ability. Jessie's mother Miyamoto used to be a senior executive of Team Rocket under his mother. Miyamoto led 3 people to the mountains of South America to find Mew's traces, but no one returned in the end. Miyamoto and his mother have a good relationship, and their friendship is even deeper than some sisters. Episode 10. Warrior Boy, Genetic Breakthrough Potion. This mission failed, all because of those 2 damn brats and the little girl who made us lose several months of bonuses, and that Mana, who was so arrogant. These days of imprisonment are really a nightmare experience, meow. Yes, the brat's Pikachu looks very strong, how about we go and catch that Pikachu? Well, give Pikachu to Giovanni, so he will definitely use us. Promotion and salary increase. Promoted to executive, take office as branch manager. I will replace that damn Persian and become Giovanni's favorite cat, meow. In a forest somewhere on the outskirts of Vikipan City. The Rocket Trio, who had just been scolded by Mana on a video call, were immersed in the fantasy of promotion and salary increase. And they have already listed Pikachu as their new target. For the next 3 days, the two continued to wander in Vicapan Forest, on the grass. Grass-type Pokémon such as Oddish and Bellsprout can be seen everywhere. But there is not a single grass-type Pokémon that Ash likes. These Pokémon have become Pidgeotto's experience packs. Under the attribute restraint, the effect of leveling is immediate. Pidgeotto level, LV25 to LV27, in the river. In comparison, there are slightly more types of water-type Pokémon. Goldeen, Poliwag, and the nightmare of fishing enthusiasts, Magikarp. Speaking of Magikarp, Misty also hates it. Magikarp, no matter how dirty the water is, it can live, and it has strong adaptability to the environment. It is rampant in various rivers and lakes. When I first started traveling, a slightly smaller lake. After fishing for a whole day, 80% of the fish caught were Magikarp. This time, not only did I not find the Pokemon I liked, but because there were too many Magikarp caught, the experience given was not much. After a day of fighting, Pikachu was not able to level up. Ash was thinking whether he should go deep into the Viridian forest. After all, the outer forest is just a place for beginners to level up. Bug-type Pokemon can be seen everywhere in the forest, and Magikarp is everywhere in the river. Pokemon of other attributes are basically not seen. Not to mention the Pokemon that suits Ash's taste. The two of them were walking and discussing, and when they passed by a bush, a boy dressed as a samurai, carrying a bug net and holding a samurai sword, suddenly jumped out of the bush. The boy drew his sword and slashed at Ash and Misty without saying a word. Pikachu, quick attack. Ash decisively stood in front of Misty and ordered coldly. Although he knew that the samurai boy had no ill intentions, Ash still did not intend to show mercy. Pika, bang. Pikachu jumped up and turned into a white stream of light and hit the waist and abdomen of the bug catcher boy heavily. Ah! Accompanied by a scream, the warrior boy fell heavily to the ground. You guys, I have no ill intentions. The warrior boy's face turned red, and he rolled on the ground holding his stomach. Really? Then give us an explanation. Looking at the boy, Ash asked coldly. Whether it was malicious or not, this behavior has caused trouble for him and Misty. If it were someone less courageous, he might have fainted from fear. Misty was relieved to see that Ash was fine. She was very touched by Ash's action of protecting her behind him immediately. He was also full of hostility towards the samurai boy. This matter must be explained reasonably. Yes, sorry, I want to use this method to find the trainer from Pallet Town. I want to challenge them. The trainers from Pallet Town I met before are all very powerful. Facing the unfriendly eyes of the two, the samurai boy explained with an evasive look. That shouldn't be done this way. Your knife is a sharp weapon. What if you hurt someone? Misty was very angry. My knife is actually not sharpened, and I am also controlling the strength, so I am sure I can hold it back. The samurai boy waved his hand and explained. At the same time, he did not forget to glance at Ash and Pikachu standing on his shoulder. His eyes were somewhat resentful. Pikachu's quick attack was really painful. If the target had shifted a little further downward, he would have been extinct. He also caught this Pinsir by chance. How could an ordinary bug-catching boy have such incredible luck as him to be able to use the rare bug-type Pokémon Pinsir as an Earl Dervish Pokémon? But even so, he still lost to the Pallet Town trainers who had just received the 3 major Pokémon from the professor. This also proves that the warrior boy is just an ordinary civilian trainer who is very inconspicuous in the vast Pokémon world. Pinsir, Blue qualification, level LV15. Pinsir's qualification is mediocre and the level is not high. Obviously, it has not been well and systematically cultivated. I remember that in the original world line, its horns were slightly broken by the metapod of the stupid thing. This is also a sign of severe malnutrition. You know, Pinsir's horns are the hardest part of its body, with amazing power that can easily break even a big tree. Then, Pidgeotto, get ready to fight. Ash threw Pidgeotto's Pokeball without thinking. In the original plot, due to the stupid operation of the idiot, Pidgeotto lowered the flying height in the face of Pinsir, and the good flying skills were not used, and the sand was moved there. Pidgeotto actually lost to Pinsir, and Ash always felt resentful about this matter. Ding, trigger the plot task. Task content, help Pidgeotto to avenge his shame and complete the team. Task reward, 1.5 W points. Pidgeot Gene Breakthrough Potion. Using this potion can make Pidgeot's body size increase several times, and it does not affect the original body speed at all. After listening to the introduction of the system task, Ash's eyes lit up. Being attacked by the samurai boy, the unpleasant mood of being disturbed also completely disappeared.